If you feel tired all the time, even though you're trying your best to eat well, then this could be why. Some of the everyday foods that you're eating can actually cause your energy to crash, leaving you feeling exhausted, suffering with brain fog, reaching for sugary foods and mid-afternoon snacks. And it's not about willpower, I promise you that. It's about blood sugar. Today, I'm sharing 5 foods that may be draining your energy right now and simple swaps that are going to help you get more energy, feel better, and more energized. So, I hear this all of the time from busy women. It's a constant thing that I hear in practice. They're constantly feeling like they're eating healthy, but they're still feeling exhausted. And if that's you, please know that you're definitely not on your own. You're not failing. Your body isn't broken. It's not something that you're doing wrong, and it isn't about trying harder. Often it's simply about certain foods that you're eating which are creating blood sugar crashes, and then that has a massive impact on your energy stability. When your blood sugar spikes from certain foods that you're eating, it crashes quickly too. And that crash feels like fatigue, brain fog, cravings, needing something sweet, and irritability, honestly. So let's look at some of the common culprits. First of all, one of the biggest foods that I see women eating and they think they're doing well is it can even be signposted as, healthy breakfast, healthy cereal. These particular foods are definitely not. And it's very worrying actually that they're available to us in the high street and they're labeled as being a healthier option. There's so much trickery around labeling, and it really, it's one of my biggest bugbears. So many breakfast cereals are often called the healthy ones. We might even see them as things like granola, different kinds of breakfast flakes, all of these things that we think are good. We've been trained and we've been encouraged by society to start our day with them. Actually, they create such a rapid blood sugar spike that then very quickly leads us to having that energy crash and that fatigue. And so many women will say to me, right, I'm really good, I have my breakfast, and then before I know it, I'm actually really hungry around 10 o'clock, and I think there's no way I can wait until lunchtime. This tends to be really busy women that are constantly on the go and they don't have time to kind of sit down, interrupt their working flow, and have another meal or anything like that. So then once the blood sugars crash, they're feeling so fatigued, they're checking the watch, waiting for lunchtime, hoping it's near. And honestly, this is to do with how they're fueling their day. So instead of having your cereal that's been advertised as healthy or starting your day with that very heavily processed breakfast, the best thing you can do is start by having some real foods with very little in ingredients. So what might that be? So for example, you could have a couple of poached eggs. Some people say to me, but Caroline, I don't have time to cook poached eggs in the morning. You could whiz them into the microwave. You could have them scrambled within a minute. You could also plan ahead. You could cook your eggs the night before. You could have hard-boiled eggs in the morning. Any of those things can work really well. And you can have it on whole grain toast. That way we're getting some fibre in there as well. And if you don't have time for that, or it's not something that you fancy in the morning, then having a good source of Greek yogurt combined with lots of berries and nuts, that's going to give you exactly what you need to really start your day. The nuts have got healthy fats in them that'll keep you satiated, so you're not going to be feeling hungry. The berries offer you that fibre, and they're a great source of antioxidant too. But most importantly, like the eggs, they're really loaded with protein. And protein is definitely key for very busy women. Another option is oats. And again, serving that, this is the biggest mistake that I see. Women are thinking, well, I'm not having any of that really sugary cereal, Caroline. I'm actually starting my day with oats first thing. That's absolutely great. First of all, what I see often is women that are having those oats that are actually struggling to digest oats because they have got an intolerance to wheat or gluten or anything like that. And the same with toast, having the wrong option because the body's actually got some sensitivity around it. But that aside, if you are okay with digesting oats, but you're just having oats, that's when you're going to have that same kind of situation going on where the blood sugar spiking is not going to be too erratic, but we will start to feel hungrier sooner because we're not adding in some protein. Protein is key. So how could we do that? Well, we could. One of my biggest things is helping women plan ahead and make some overnight oats, creating your oats the evening before, adding in some protein. So that can come in the source of Greek yogurt, or it could come in the source of protein powder. I'm a massive advocate for busy women selecting a really good quality protein powder that's going to give them that boost of protein first thing in the morning. And again, loading that up with different seeds. So having chia seeds is really going to help fill you up and keep you satiated. And also it's really going to help with your digestion and your digestive system, which is wonderful. And again, stop us from having that craving for something soon because we'll feel like we're satiated for longer. And again, you can add in some healthy fats there. You could add in some nut butter or you could add in some avocado, and you can also add in some berries as well. Again, getting the antioxidant and more sources of fiber first thing, which will keep us satiated. The key here is having that protein and having that fiber at the same time. Okay, so but all of these foods that I've just mentioned really do stabilize your blood sugars for you and keep your energy steady, which is so, so important when we've got a very important job to do and we're very busy. And this can be for women that are at home with their children as well, and they just need that energy because, you know, I have a young child as well, and I know how consuming it is when I'm with him, and he's busy doing his own thing, and you need all of that extra energy to be able to entertain them, keep them occupied, but also on working days for me. I'm so busy. I have client after client. So before I know it, if I'm hungry in the middle of a client session, that's not going to work for me. So think about that in your daily do and how that's going to impact your day. Feed yourself up, fuel yourself up for success. And then food number 2 is white toast or refined carbohydrates alone. So again, very similar to what I said about the porridge oats there, making sure that we combine them with some healthy fats and some protein. But white bread, white toast, in my opinion, as a nutritionist, is a no-go. It's not something that is going to give you any benefit. There's no fiber in there. It's all been stripped out. There is a small amount of fiber, but it's very much removed during the processing stage, and it creates so much constipation and backup within the bowel for many of the patients that I work with that it's best for us to eliminate it from the system and to swap it over. Another thing here is women very busy grabbing on the go, so things like croissants, pan au chocolates, these quick morning breakfasts and pastries are just, they're going to keep us feeling, they might give us that initial energy boost, but they're going to keep us feeling like we're having that blood sugar crash, we're feeling fatigued, we've got brain fog, and we're craving our next bit of food and bit of sugar very soon. So instead, with this one, again, try the whole grain toast, try adding on some eggs for the protein with that. And you could even add on a healthy fat there. One of my favorite breakfasts of all time is a nice slice of wholemeal or whole grain or sourdough toast. For me personally, I'm gluten-free, so I have homemade gluten-free toast. And then I will top that with some avocado for healthy fats and some eggs on there as well. Nut butter on sourdough if we are in a hurry and we need to get going. Nut butter is great. Personally, I recommend choosing different types of nut butter as opposed to peanut butter, purely because peanut itself isn't a nut. So we want to have a really good source of fiber coming from the nuts that we're having. So I personally like almond butter, and I also like cashew butter, and you can serve that on sourdough, which is better for your body to digest the sourdough. It's a slower process, so blood sugar spiking is less, and it keeps us feeling fuller for longer. And again, here we could have avocado and seeds, which is a lovely way to start your day. Having an avocado sliced with different seeds, absolutely delicious. And we could also have that served with a small portion of protein yogurt. So a Greek yogurt on the side would be wonderful. Now, the next one is something that I am so passionate about sharing the message about, because so many women, it's become routine for them. Some of them don't have breakfast and they're thinking, well, I'm being really good because I'm fasting. I've got into this routine where I can't eat breakfast anymore. And a lot of that for the ladies that I work with can stem from previous kind of yo-yo dieting experiences where they're beating themselves up because they've eaten above their calorie intake the day before, or in their words, they've eaten some naughty foods and they feel that they need to skip breakfast the next day to bring them back in alignment. Absolutely not. The main thing here is for us to make sure we're fueling properly. I'm not saying that there's not a time and a place to fast, because I massively use it in my practice with my patients, but it's very dependent on your age, where you're at in your journey of menopause, or whether or not you're perimenopausal, All of these things are massive factors, or if you suffer with things like PCOS or you're having PMDD, that can massively influence when it's right for a woman to fast for a start. But if we're starting the day off and we're having a cup of coffee first thing, this can lead to all kinds of issues for women. They can have, sometimes they can say they're feeling like they've got a racing heart, their legs feel jittery, they're feeling a bit anxious, they're feeling um, like their energy starts to crash not long after having that drink of coffee. So instead, it's all about making sure we're eating before we have the coffee, or if you are in that routine and you do feel fine with it, waking up and not eating until a little bit later on, breaking the fast later, then swapping that coffee for a herbal tea. For me personally, I recommend to some of my clients starting the day with a hot bowl of water with a slice of fresh lemon or a squeeze of lemon juice in there and a sprinkling of pink Himalayan salt to bring our electrolytes back into balance. Again, there with the salt and everything and the lemon, it's all about knowing your health. So if personally you're suffering with any kidney health issues, or if you're a person who's got high blood pressure, then it's obviously worth remembering regarding the salt intake, whether or not that's going to work for you is what I'm trying to say there. So, having your coffee with protein. So, if you do want to have a cup of coffee, have you tried adding a scoop of protein powder into it, or having your cup of coffee? Some clients think that's absolutely not for them. Some clients love it. But have you thought about how you could get that protein in the morning with your cup of coffee alongside it? Personally, as a nutritionist, you're going to yield the most nutrients from the foods that you eat if you eat around avoiding coffee times. But if it's a gradual thing where we're starting to keep the coffee, but with the intention of removing it and having food first. But we feel that for now, it'd be better to have it alongside some protein, then that's going to be better for you than having it on a completely empty stomach. And this really massively does support your energy levels and keeping your energy stable. And number four is all about mid-afternoon sugar fixes. So hands up if you can relate to this and you feel that get to 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're absolutely shattered. You feel like you need to go and have a nana nap or a granny nap, as some of my ladies say when I'm working with them. This is then the time when you may have a quick break at work. You may grab a coffee and a chocolate biscuit or packet of crisps, some sugary snack that's going to help fuel you on. You believe that's what you've been telling yourself. That is very quick burst of energy. That energy, again, like I said earlier on, is just going to have that blood sugar spike effect. So your blood sugar is going to be off the roof with the sugary snack, and then before we know it, that'll come crashing down really hard. Again, we'll be in that situation where we're feeling really tired, brain fog, exhaustion, and the body will be craving some more of that brought it back up here. It'll want some more of it. So the best thing to do here is to avoid having that, and because it's just like a vicious cycle, then you end up with stronger cravings. You end up really, really wanting it. Some ladies say this is when they're more prone to binging on the wrong types of foods, and then they hit into that cycle of feeling really guilty because they've eaten something that is not good. They call it naughty food. So, and these kind of labels, and that's when we can start to go into that punishment mindset of avoiding certain foods. So instead of doing that, my top tip here would be to have an apple sliced up with a table or 2 tablespoons of nut butter. That's going to give you some fiber, a natural sugar boost, and because it's combined with the apple skin, keep the skin on, that's another source of fiber that the body really does love, pectin fiber. And also on top of that, you've got the fiber coming from the nut butter along with the healthy fat, which is going to keep you feeling satiated, so keep you feeling fuller until your evening meal. Or have a handful of nuts. I have clients that I recommend taking in some nuts with. Be careful here. Again, the disclaimer, because if you're in a work environment that doesn't allow nuts, if perhaps somebody's got a nut allergy around you, just be mindful of that. Oat cakes and hummus. This is a great one. Really handy if you are at work. You can just kind of take a packet in on the Monday. You've got a packet there with you throughout the whole week. So there's no kind of, oh my goodness, I'm going to have a biscuit because I've got nothing in. But planning ahead, you've got this packet that you can help yourself to a couple each day. And again, you could serve that with nut butter. Or again, another really good one is hummus, which is great for you, which is packed with fiber. from the chickpeas in the hummus. And then another one, people think, oh gosh, there's no way I can eat chocolate because I'm trying to watch what I eat. I'm watching my weight and all of these things. But actually, you could make some homemade chocolate, which if you don't follow me already, you can head over to me on Instagram and follow me there where I share my recipes of healthy chocolate and healthier ingredients and things like that. Or you could take dark chocolate, so 70% cocoa, and you could have that with a handful of almonds or even a scrape of nut butter on top to create that healthy kind of chocolatey indulgence that's got that healthy fat for you. And also, because it's afternoon, we can feel a little bit worked up with the stress levels of work, and this natural 70% chocolate is going to create this natural magnesium for us, which is going to help us to relax, and also that feel good hormone is going to be triggered because we're enjoying the chocolate. So it's a win-win with that one as well. And then finally, my fifth swap would be something that I see all of the time in practice. This is even more so than ever now. And actually, when I've been working in schools, it's a big taboo topic because so many children and women are surviving on energy drinks and sweetened drinks that are classed and labeled as being healthy drinks or healthy smoothies. But actually, they're not doing what our body needs them to do. First of all, they're ultra processed. Because the foods within them, so like within the smoothies, have been pulped and they've actually gone through a blender, that it's pure sugar. So it's basically just like a full liquid sugar source that's going to have this really, really drastically quick blood sugar spike effect, which then is going to create that spike and crash again, which we've talked about already in the video. And also caffeinated drinks at this time. Like, please, like we said about the coffee earlier, on an empty stomach, but in general, having too much caffeine throughout the day is going to have a knock-on effect and impact the way that you sleep in the evening. And honestly, one of the best ways to feel healthy and have more energy is to increase your sleep. Now, that sounds really simple. Some women find that really hard because they're very busy, going to bed early. But if we can take out the caffeine earlier on in the day, so if we say maybe stop caffeine after 1 p.m., then we're going to be naturally allowing our body to wind down and to fall into that natural bedtime rhythm and tune into that melatonin once it's switched on a little bit easier, so we can fall into that deeper sleep in the evening. So things you can swap out here, you can have a protein-rich smoothie, like I mentioned earlier, for breakfast. Putting that protein into the smoothie and making your own homemade smoothie if possible, so you know which foods are going in, which fruits and fibers. You could actually add in healthy fats into these smoothies, so adding in half an avocado. I have so many clients come out to me and say, gosh, Caroline, I love that you've shown me how to do that. By throwing half an avocado into a smoothie, you actually make it into this rather thick, deluxe kind of, almost like a meal in a glass, and it's really nourishing. It's also very satiating. And yeah, really, really delicious. You can put seeds in there. Just make sure if you are using chia or chia seeds, depending on how you pronounce it, that you are soaking them, because they do expand. And when they've done the soaking before they're going into the system, it's a lot easier for our body to digest them and to use them correctly. So using the vegetables as well in the smoothies, so not always looking to fruits, which have got that high sugar content, and choosing water and herbal teas throughout the day alongside these particular drinks is really going to help. So heading for that 2 to 2.5 liters of water per day as well. So there are my top tips and swaps that I massively recommend. And I promise you, if you do make those changes, you will feel better for them. You can say goodbye to brain fog, you can have increased energy and feel satiated, and also stop that food noise and that kind of constant niggle of, I need something else to eat, I'm really tired. So it's not about perfection. I'm not saying go away and do all of these things at once. Maybe just implement one of them for a week and see how that goes and how it impacts you. And it's about just these small shifts, the 1% thing every day, doing small changes in the right direction really does add up to big success. Once your blood sugar is stable, I promise you your energy will improve, your cravings will definitely reduce, and your mood will be so much calmer. And your focus will improve as well, which is great, right? Especially when we're at work. And you'll start to feel more like yourself again, and that's so, so important. Okay, so if you feel exhausted most days, please know that you're not on your own, and it's definitely not because you're lazy, and it isn't because you're lacking willpower, and it's definitely not because you're failing in any way. These small food changes can make a very big difference. Your body just needs a little bit of support, simple support, nourishing support that's going to help it feel fabulous. So I'm creating a free guide. It's called Get Your Energy Back, 5 Science-Backed Food Swaps for Busy Women age 40 plus. If you would like the simple swaps that support lasting energy and you'd like more information around that, or you'd like to receive it, you can join the waitlist below. Just drop your details here in the comments and I'll be sure to get that emailed over to you. Alternatively, you can follow me on Instagram and you can also request the free freebie there as well. I'd love to hear if any of this resonated with you and what you're struggling with right now. Just remember that you absolutely deserve to feel energized, clear-headed, and well. And it starts with understanding what your body needs. It's not you that's failing. It's always science. I promise you that. You take care, and I'll look forward to catching up with you soon.